everybody, and welcome to Everything But the Cats, the podcast where we talk about everything but the cats. My name's Gage.
And I'm and today we're joined by a couple of friends of ours. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Jedediah Stevens.
And I'm Isaac Jorgensen.
Great. And Gage, how do we know these guys?
So we met these guys approximately, 7 years ago, about a month ago, at a good old church camp that we all worked at called Pender Loving Care. That's what I'm going with, PLC. And we had a lot of good times there. DJ and I were counselors, and Jed and Isaac were support staff. Is that what they called it? What did they call
We're
it?
maintenance.
Maintenance, but
Yeah, support staff would have been like maintenance and lifeguards and
I
kitchen
think-
people.
yeah.
I think I was adventure.
No. This is Gage and DJ. This is 2015. Remember when
Oh,
you thought I
you're
was
right.
a Bernie supporter?
Oh, I do remember that. My fondest memory of you.
Oh, is it?
No, it's not. But I do remember that.
But so these are a couple of friends we made that summer, and we're still friends. So that's a good thing.
True.
So go ahead, real quick, and each of you go ahead and tell us like either a fun fact or a boring fact about yourself. You can decide in the moment.
Isaac, you got it.
All right. I will. Fun fact about myself is I can play 7 instruments.
That is a fun fact.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
A
So,
boring fact about me is that I can only play one instrument well.
Man, let me give you a boring fact about me. I can't play any.
Hey man, that's a fun fact. That makes
Hi.
you diverse in this group.
Here's a medium fact about me. Put any instrument in front of me, and I can play it poorly.
Especially the air horn.
there you go.
Oh yeah, I can play a mean air horn.
But yeah, so like I said, we all work together at a church camp, and so we're going to be, in celebration of summer, telling some fun stories from when we worked at camp together. This is something that we've all worked at camps on multiple different summers, I believe, at this like in our lives. So we all have too many stories for one episode, but we're going to try to tell some of our favorites. So Isaac, how about you jump us into this?
Oh, sure. Man, I'm concerned on whether I should say this or not, but I think it's okay. It's definitely one of my favorite memories. It was actually one of the last nights. I believe this was the right year when you guys were there, but correct me if I'm wrong. But it was the last night, and one of the cabins, we just kind of had some stinkers in it, and so we just decided to play a little prank on, give him a little scare. And so before bed, the counselor, I can't remember which guy it was, but he told him a little scary story about this exterminator called Mr. Jones. And the story went, camp had some insect problems, so they brought in this guy named Mr. Jones. He got all the insects taken care of, and well, then they had a rodent problem, so he brought in, Mr. Jones again to take care of the rodents. And Mr. Jones just went kind of crazy, and so he tried to start exterminating the adults, but they were too big, so he had to go for something a little smaller. And that's when one of the campers is just like, so he decided to kill campers? And the counselor's like, yes, that's exactly what he decided to do. But he'd only do it when the counselor was sleeping. And so, anyways, kids, you guys have a good night. He went to bed. And man, all the kids just start getting terrified. Well, unbeknownst to them, the rest of us, we're all just hiding right outside. We're scaring them. We're poking our heads through the window. One of my buddies brought a gas mask that year, and we had a little white jumpsuit and everything. And so after a good 20, 30 minutes of scratching on windows and just trying to get them on nerve, on edge, I went in there with a gas mask and a white hazmat suit. And I just remember saying weird, crazy stuff like, Mr. Jones, wait, I'm Mr. Jones. Mrs. Jones, where are you? And all this weird stuff. And the kids were just so scared. And so, I just kind of did that, walked around the cabin for 5 minutes, scared all the kids, scared the kids a little bit. But then counselor woke and started telling them, oh, hey, it's okay. We'll pray about it. It'll be fine. So then, we all thought it was a pretty good joke. And maybe about 2 weeks later, one of the moms calls and the camp director, and it's just like, hey, did you play prank, time to time? And she's like, well, I get it. It's all in good fun, but my campers had nightmares for the last 2 weeks. Maybe you should tone it down a little bit. Fun at that moment, but it was kind of fun in the moment, though.
So
I feel like
go ahead, DJ.
I feel like you just in 15 years, this is the beginning of like at least 12 like deconstruction videos. Like,
oh my gosh. So I think that must have been the summer before or after the year that DJ and I were there, because I remember hearing stories
Okay.
about Mr.
Mhm.
Jones, but we did something similar because I was there, Dan was there, and I told the kids a story about a guy wearing a gas mask with a machete, and he knocked on the window by one of my campers' beds wearing the gas mask, and then ended up like everyone freaked out. I got him calmed down, and then like 20 minutes later, he walked in wearing it. And this was high school camp. This wasn't like middle school. This wasn't grade school. This was high school camp. And I had one of the kids basically like fell off the top bunk. One of them was getting ready to fight. Like one of them was up and ready to go. But the others were all just like screaming. And then I don't remember who walked in, but the guy in the cabin next to me walked in and was like, "Hey, no girls on Boys Hill." And that was it. So I thought that was it's probably a mixture of the stories, because I heard a couple years later they
Probably.
said you're not supposed to
Probably
tell
just
scary
all
stories
connected.
anymore.
Yeah. I think I got it banned. So that's
It's all your fault, Isaac.
funny. I'm sorry. This is why we can't have nice things.
why the LLC is done.
That's why. That's why it's gone.
Yep, that's.
Scared all the kids away.
I mean, honestly,
Oh, that just makes me feel terrible.
of all the reasons a camp could get closed down, that's probably one of the better ones.
It builds
'Cause
character.
Mr. Jones.
I suppose. So, and you guys are really taking me on a guilt trip right now.
Hey, I did it too.
Oh, okay.
Why?
I feel better. We're all in this together.
Yeah. I sincerely took pride in the fact that I was part of a new rule.
Right? Dude, I almost feel like this is more of a confessional podcast at this point. How we shut down 10 or 11 years.
We can turn into that.
Hey,
Oh, no, let's not.
was your guys' year the year that Dan Moore taught us about bladding?
It wasn't the year he
Sure was.
taught it to us, because everyone else knew about it before we got there.
That's true.
So you participated?
We did participate.
We sure did.
Okay, are we allowed to talk about that on the
No.
podcast, or does that violate the rules?
It
violates the rules.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I mean,
Listener, if you want to know, you have to ask someone that knows, and then maybe you'll get the answer.
Hey, listener, look into my eyes. Look into my eyes.
Look into Gage's eyes.
You have to find DJ and I on my wedding day, and we'll tell you about blatting.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, find me anywhere, and it's a worthy experience. I'll take you.
That's fair. Find DJ anywhere. His address is... I wasn't actually going to say it, but
Wow.
Yeah, you can bleep it if you want to.
I will do my darndest.
Yeah. If you want to go blatting, if you want to know what it is, you got to go. That's what I've always
Yeah.
told.
Yeah, that's what the
Man, that's a motto that really sounds creepy anywhere else. If you want to know, you got to go.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to know, you gotta go. There is no other way.
Man,
Yeah, you
we
really
can
just
make
got to try
t-shirts.
it.
There should be a T-shirt.
And
I
just
bet
put
there is.
just put a covered wagon on it. Those who get it will get it.
Mm.
Oh,
That's
true,
true.
true.
I don't know if everyone gets the same lore that we were given.
I mean, it's pretty good lore. I would just keep it consistent.
That's pretty good lore.
It's the lore that I gave
think it
everyone.
works.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I think it's
sure
pretty
I gave
accurate.
that lore.
I think so. DJ,
Maybe-
did you
Yeah,
give
that's the
lore the
one I-
times you took people?
I took my cousins once, and I don't remember whether I gave lore, and I can't really say more about how it went without like revealing too much.
Yeah. But you didn't have any farmers come out, did you?
Sure didn't.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
oh,
So,
what a
would
time.
have hated for that to happen. But yeah, dude.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
why the farmers would go to the gym where we blat at.
Yeah, the
Obviously.
gym. I thought it was at the bowling alley.
The farmers were the ones who brought the bleach. What are you talking about?
Oh wait,
right. Yeah.
You're thinking pharmacists
Oh,
because it
Yeah,
happens at the
yeah,
pharmacy.
That's it.
You're right. You're right.
So do you guys remember cabin cleanup competitions?
Sure do.
heck yeah, we do.
I've got to. I'm happy for this story to be whenever. If it's the story I'm thinking of, I've got a specific story that I think of.
I bet it's your story. So I'll just
No, that's okay. It can be
I'll let you
yours.
tell that one. Well, I'm not very good at telling stories, so you're probably better at it. I just remember Isaac and I were on maintenance, so we were tasked with judging cabin cleanup.
Oh.
And there is one person in this chat that may or may not be the reigning champion, for certain reasons that he can explain to you later, or right now. I mean, whenever.
I want to save it for close to the end.
We're gonna save it.
Yeah, let the suspense build.
So
There should be a dun 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 sound effect.
Yeah, I got you.
oh, we'll find one.
That makes sense.
So I've got this very specific memory, and I tried to explain it to DJ, but I don't know if he remembered it too well. Maybe you guys will. But it was one of the middle school weeks. There was this camper who was like questioning a lot of stuff about the Bible, questioning just a lot of things. And his dad was like a professor at one of the colleges, and he was asking a lot of good questions. And I had just learned, and he for some reason was asking me about hell. He wasn't in my cabin, but he was asking me about hell, and I had just done like a deep dive on annihilationism. And I was like, he's probably smart enough to understand this. And so I tried to explain annihilationism to this kid. And then at campfire at the end of the week, when people can just get up and say the most impactful part of the week for them, he goes on like probably a 5 or 6 minute just like rant trying to explain what I had tried to explain to him. And I'll grant, I probably did it very poorly. And And everyone afterward was like, man, he just kept like hovering over heresy and then coming back and then getting a little close to heresy and then coming back. I wonder which counselor told him that story. And he said when he was up there, he's like, and some counselor who, for the life of me, I can't remember. And I was like, thank God you can't remember.
Saved from the burning at the stake.
Oh, yeah. They would have thrown
You're
me in
so
the
lucky you weren't.
campfire.
You're so lucky you weren't bald then. The bald one.
That's what people call
That's
me
true.
now.
You had a full head of hair back then.
Oh yeah, full head of hair and a beard. If I think about
It was
it
a
in post,
whole mood.
I'll put a picture of my old self over this one for a minute.
You definitely should.
We'll see if I remember too. It's effort. But yeah, no, that was a fun time. Yeah, that was a real good time. I felt so bad. Josiah was like, "Man, who told him that?" And I was like, "Yeah, who told him that?"
Yeah, who would have?
Who on earth?
Man,
Yeah.
I'm trying to there are so many years of camp just mixed up in my brain. I'm trying to remember who was all at camp that summer. Who do you remember who was all on maintenance with Isaac and I?
I thought it was just the two of you, wasn't it? No.
There were
No, there would have been two girls. Was it
Katie?
Katie.
Oh, so Katie and LaShondra?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
so I think this is the year that we oh, so did Josiah put 44 mattresses in a bathroom? Do you guys remember that?
Not in particular.
I don't, but that
Okay.
doesn't sound out of character.
I think that's this summer. Do you remember that, Isaac?
Sorry, can you say that? I lost you for just a second. What was that?
When Josiah piled all of the mattresses on Boys Hill in the bathroom.
Ooh, yeah, this was that year. Yeah, because this was the
Yeah.
year where we were both on maintenance the whole summer.
Yep. That was it was so it was probably like in the middle to middle end of the summer. And we were so camp like starts out on a really big high and like, oh yeah, summer's gonna be awesome. And then every week goes by and you get more and more exhausted and more, just like done. And it was at one of these points in the summer that our friendly counselor that we all know decided that it would be fun for cabin cleanup to put all of the mattresses on Boys Hill into the bathroom that we have to clean every morning, by the way. And so Isaac and I walk into the cabin with the bathroom that's like inside of it,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't get into it because it is literally full from wall to wall with mattresses. So one of us like had to take all the mattresses and put them away while the other one cleaned the bathhouse, and it was a whole ordeal. Anyways, needless to say, we got back at Josiah because he liked to take naps in front of where the maintenance team lived. We have like these two trailers, and we had some hammocks hanging up, and he was taking a nap in one during counselor free time or whatever. So we woke him up with a washcloth and a water bottle.
Do you remember that summer
That was a good time.
when you guys like stacked a ton of hammocks up in the trees?
Was that the same summer?
It was the same summer.
I remember it happening. I don't think I participated, but I saw it because it was up at the ropes course, right?
I thought it was right by the trailer.
Yeah, it was up on the.
What?
Yeah, it was at the top. I think it was like by the amphitheater almost.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, maybe it was. Oh, yes,
So.
it was, because I walked up to it, but then was like, I'm not doing this. So I went back and played Quelf, probably.
I think that might have been the year that hammocks really got introduced to the camp culture. Like, I think after that year, like everyone and their grandma had a hammock.
Yeah, we came from a Bible college, so hammocks were kind of like commonplace.
Second
It's
nature.
probably your fault.
We didn't even bring hammocks.
Mm-mm.
I don't know that I used one unless one of my roommates had one. I also never did Chacos. I stayed out of that side of things.
Chacos, I think, are still a thing that people love them.
Yeah.
I did one wilderness trip without Chacos when everyone else had Chacos and all I had was tennis shoes. So we're like getting ready to cross this stream and everyone else takes 10 seconds to put their Chacos on. And here I am like 3 minutes later getting my tennis shoes all laced up. And I own Chacos now. So I can be a wild man as needed.
Nice.
Would it be
I do not own Chacos still. Never will.
would it be
Well, next time I need to
beneficial?
cross a stream, you're not invited.
I'll just walk through with my boots.
Great.
That's fair.
So I have a number of good memories at camp, not to brag, um, and they're all gone right now. Like I just had them, and I don't know where they are.
Delightful.
So
I remember the time I broke a kid's arm with my butt.
I remember the time I broke a guy's butt with my arm.
Dude, we were playing. Do you guys remember those field games we'd play?
oh yeah.
Those are
Um,
sick.
and we had the one. I think it was. Did we call it like the Marvel game or something like that? But it was basically had those pennies and you'd stick them in your waistband, and you'd have to like rip them out of like the kids' waistbands, and then you could take them back to your home base and you get points for them. You know, remember talking about?
Yep.
Well, this happened shortly after we had a good rain in the afternoon. So all the ground was just kind of soaked, and I remember running up on this kid, and we're like running side by side basically, and I reach out to grab his penny, and then he reaches behind my back to grab mine, and we both slip on the grass at the same time, and I land right on his arm. And I remember trying to grab his penny when we're on the ground, but he had like tied it in a knot around his belt loop, which is like super illegal and cheating. So I was, being the young, passionate person I was, I just got mad and just ripped it right off his pants, broke the belt loop and everything. And I was like, dude, this is cheating. This isn't allowed. And he's just like, dude, I think you broke my arm. And I'm like, no, you're fine. You just need to walk it off. And so I get up, and one of the other counselors just like, dude, is that guy okay? And I'm like, yeah, he's just being a wimp. He just needs to walk it off. And so I go on, play the rest of the game. Later that night, I'm helping the rest of the support staff put together like s'mores and stuff like that after the campfire. And one of the campers comes up and they're just like, yeah, hey guys, did you hear about the kid that broke his arm? And we're all like, what? It's like, yeah, he was playing the game and someone just fell and broke his arm, fell on him. He said maintenance did it, and everyone in support staff didn't even talk to one another. They all just looked directly at me because who else would it be if it wasn't me?
It could literally be no one else.
No, like if you knew all the rest of the staff that was there, like it wouldn't have been anyone else but me. And it was just like, wow. So like I tell that story to this day about like breaking kids' arm. I broke Kirby's foot at camp. I've broken a lot of stuff on accident. So
Herbie. Oh
but
my gosh. I forgot
yeah,
he
dude.
existed.
Yeah, dude, he's engaged now.
He sure
Really?
is.
Nice.
Congrats.
Yes, sir. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Man.
Yeah, shout out. Let's just name drop everyone we worked with that we can remember. I'm definitely kidding. So I remember there was a kid in my cabin one week. It was middle school, I think, who decided he wanted to get in a prank war with Dan.
Oh no.
Oh, what a bad move.
It was a very bad move. And by
Yeah.
pranks, like this is a middle schooler, so he's like throwing a ketchup packet at him or putting it under his, like on his seat before he sits down or something. And Dan's like, "Okay, I'm gonna put your bed on the roof of your cabin. Like,
Yeah.
and I think at one point I don't remember if it was this specific week, but there was one week, and it could have been this kid, where someone took the sheets off of someone's bed and strung them up the flagpole. And I think it was the same kid that happened to.
I'm part of that story, but I can't share it because Woody is being Woody.
Wait, does that mean you have to go for a minute?
No, it just means I need to mute. But I'm part of that story because, like, I don't know if you want to add more context, but I can add a bit more context to that part.
Oh, I don't know the rest.
Okay, so our boss, well, Gage and I's boss, is a woman named Jessica, who is a bro. She like really liked her. We got along well, but she had enough of pranks that summer, and like things were not getting out of hand, but like she could see them maybe getting out of hand. I'm putting words in her mouth. Who knows? But like she like the week before had been like, "Hey guys, no pranks. Like we're done with pranks. We need to stop doing this." Uh, and then that kid has his beef with Dan for whatever reason, and somehow I get roped into this, and I, uh, okay, so I remember Ben's name. What is Ben's wife's name?
Aaron.
Erin. It's because her name is not Erin on Facebook. I like it's been gone for years. So thank you for that. But she's like, hey, you really ought to run that kid's sheet up the flagpole. And I'm like, okay, so like I've got a no from my boss, but I've got a yes from my boss's wife. I don't know how the hierarchy works here, but yes is more fun, so we're going for it. And so I did it, and then like it happens, and she comes down hard on Dan. Like is like planning to meet with him because if this prank happened and someone broke the rules, obviously it's Dan. Like we didn't need to look at each other, we didn't need to talk. It's Dan. And so I hear that Dan's going to get in trouble. I'm like noble or whatever, and so I go talk to her, and essentially because I wasn't Dan, it was just a very pleasant like, hey, just next time don't do that, man. Yeah, didn't appreciate that you did that, but yeah, it's okay, you're fine. So that's that. There were stakes that week.
I don't I don't know that Dan and I ever got talked to about him walking into the cabin with a literal machete when I had a group of kids who were terrified. I don't
Well,
think we ever got talked to about that.
but those were high schoolers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not gonna tell anyone.
that's a
You know
good
how
point.
embarrassing that is.
Well, I had like Uriah, Elvin, Dequandes.
Oh, you had the Des Moines squad.
I had the Des Moines squad.
Oh man, I could see how they were ready to fight.
It wasn't them who was ready to fight.
Oh, who was it? Who was ready to
Gosh, I
fight?
think his name was Aaron. Um, he had very, very, very long black hair. He was ripped. Uh,
Was it me?
maybe
It was probably DJ. You're
it was
thinking of.
probably
Yeah.
yeah. No, DJ. DJ was my camper that week actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a young
So
one.
I feel like most weeks were pretty good. But there are some weeks that are just going to be more difficult than other weeks. Like high school week wasn't too bad, right? There were a couple students that were a little obnoxious. I had also just like left a long relationship during high school week, and at the end of the week, there's a kid who like we've had some beef the whole time, and at the end of the week, he's like, "This is probably why your girlfriend broke up with you," and then like waddled
No.
off to the campfire, and it was fine. Like I broke up with her, so it's fine. Like I can take that hit. But anyways, some weeks are harder than other weeks. What you assume that a hard week is always going to be middle school, and it was. Um, but I had this one student who it feels like in this, it feels mean to say his name in the context of this story, but I had a student who was just like kind of rough around the edges, like rough family life and all that, and like all very sad things. But what it equated to was this kid who just like didn't care and like was very like could be like mean and aggressive and angry at times. And so one of the rules for the cabin counselors was that they is a strong guideline, maybe more than a rule, because it's kind of hard to do depending on numbers. But you had to have a one-on-one meeting with each of your each of your kiddos. Sure, that's the best word I can think of.
Sure.
Campers?
Children, campers.
We-
Yeah, that's a good word. That'll do it. Each of your peers, each of the campers in your cabin, you had to have a one-on-one with them at some point during the week, and kind of the minimum for one-on-one was like 15-minute conversation. And I really like. It's not that I mean, I enjoyed getting to know them and talking, and so my one-on-ones were typically a bit longer, like a couple few hours. And there was this student, and I thought, man, where should I meet with this student to make sure like he's not distracted and not distracted, but like make sure he's on his best behavior. And at camp we had beehives. So I took this kid to the picnic table that was about 15-20 feet away from the beehives, where you can see bees flying in and out of the hive constantly. And that's where we had our one-on-one. And he was the most respectful that he was all week as we sat there by the bees. So that's my story of probably getting a kid to deconstruct. So
I feel like yours is so much less harsh than any of ours so far.
and then I pushed him into the hive. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it was a prank though.
There it
so.
is. There it is.
So it's just
It's
a
just a
prank,
prank.
bro.
Yeah. No, I did help out with the bees that summer, and that summer, have I told the story on the show before, Gage?
I don't think so.
Great. That summer, one of the queens had died. Long live the king. And the new queen had mated with some bee, don't know who, like feels rude to ask. And so we essentially had two hives, and one hive we knew like this is they're bred to be friendly, should be totally fine. These ladies are going to treat you right. And then the other hive, we don't know about them. Like probably don't, if you're like showing off the hives to campers, like maybe don't do that one because they could be aggressive. So it's our first time. Rachel and I are leading. I think it was Rachel. I'm like 80% sure it's Rachel. And I are leading the bees. And we're like using the friendly hive, but they're not in the mood. Like every little thing we do, the buzz gets louder, and they're just not feeling it. At one point, towards the end, a bee like flies into a little girl's ear and is just like bouncing around her ear, and she's like 8, terrified, and so she's just standing there like again, this is how she's deconstructing. I swear it builds character, all of these things. But she's just standing there like tears streaming down her face, trying not to move because she's terrified she's going to get stung. And then we end up telling her like, just run. And so she runs to the cabin or whatever, and it didn't get stung. So that's good. But guess who did get stung? That's right, is me. So I'm dealing with these bees, and they're feisty. And when bees get feisty, I don't know if you know this, if you're listening, if you've never been stung before, they like to go for your face. And so you're wearing a mask, and there's a bee just like I don't know, 5 inches away from your face, like trying to stick its stinger like through the like netting in your mask. Like it wants you dead, and it can't do it, but it's gonna try. It hopes you're allergic. I don't know. So that's happening, and we had been told that if you blow, like, so you've got the smoker, it calms them down, but if you blow on them, then, like, if you're running out of smoke, if you blow on them, it'll have the same effect as the smoke does. And so the smoker's not working super well, and so I blow on them. And it's like, and then immediately I'm punched in the gut by a bee. And so I'm like stung. And so that's fine. It's my first time being stung by anything. I'm like, well, hope I'm not going to die. I didn't, so that's good. But we're standing around like trying to figure out like, okay, do we still put this frame away? What do we do? And it's a windy day. And so the wind picks up my shirt and then brings it back down on me. And the stinger was still stuck in my shirt. So I got stung twice by the same bee, and that's one of my favorite little icebreakers to bring up. It's like the mayor in How the Grinch Stole Christmas is like, I had my tonsils removed twice. I got stung by a bee twice. That's the whole story, though. There's not. Yeah. I don't know if the bees are there.
I don't know. Who knows?
I do remember.
I would say the same ones are definitely not there. But
That's true.
What is the lifespan of a bee?
Probably like a few weeks.
Okay.
I mean,
Really?
that would be my guess.
Oh wow.
I don't know. Yeah.
When you were telling that story,
Jamie, would you look that up?
DJ, when you were telling that story, the first thing that popped in my head was, man, I know a thing or two about handling feisty bees.
Worker honeybees typically live 5 to 7 weeks.
Wow.
Which is too long, in my opinion.
I don't want to be. Jed, do you have any other stories?
Oh, I don't know. I had one, but then it disappeared when another story came up.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh no, it's fine. Oh, what was it?
Or Isaac. I just saw that Isaac was muted earlier, so that's.
Yeah, you're good.
I didn't want to sound like I was being rude.
Yeah, no, you're good. Dude, I want to say, like, I mean, on a more, like, touching note, like, man, there were a lot of awesome memories just leading worship. I wanted to say I did it for 3 of my 4 years. And just definitely, like, I remember hearing a couple stories, like, at the campfire at the end of the week where, again, like, I think you mentioned it before, like, kids get up and they talk about what was the most, like, impactful thing this week. And just hearing kids talk about, like, yeah, this was, like, one of the first times where I actually felt like the Spirit was moving in worship and just, like, being able to connect with God in that way and praise Him and just, like, not just showing up and just singing some songs, but actually, like, worshiping. And so, like, those were really, really sweet memories for myself. Being able to be a part of that was super, super special. And so there's a lot of good memories like that. Or, like, I remember having, we would have guys' night, like, what was it, every Tuesday night, and, like, just us guys, and have them go up and do the campfire and stuff. And I was a counselor that year, so this would have been the next year after this. And just having, like, just coming back and then just having, like, a whole cabin of middle schoolers just talking about, like, dude, all the things that are going on in their life, and just kind of opening up and being vulnerable. So, like, those are some of the more, like, fun stories that I love from camp, which makes it such a special place. I mean, obviously there's all the fun stuff too, like doing the ropes course and watching kids do the trust fall for the first time and all that. But there were, some other awesome stories just about, like, hearing God work in kids' lives. Because, I mean, camp, I don't know if you guys know this. This is actually maybe my favorite camp stories when I was a camper, summer after my 7th grade year. Just experiencing that camp high every year, and just like, oh man, this is so awesome. And then at the end of the week, the camp director of that year is just like, yeah, part of the reason why you have this camp high is because we're in the Word every single day, all the time. So his challenge was to read a chapter of the Bible every day. Moving after that, and I took him up on it, and I would say that's when my relationship with the Lord really started. And so those, so that's like my favorite camp story, because it's just like that was just kind of the impact that PLC had on me, and then just being able to help be a part of that impact on other kids in future years. Those are my favorite stories. Just hearing those happen. So
Yeah, that's a good word. I feel like that did remind me something that was really special about that year for me was that I was about 2 years. I mean, I was 2 years into like a missions degree at Ozark, and I don't know why, but going into that year, I was just really trying to decide, like, do I want to do missions? Do I want to should I do youth ministry? Like a couple of things I'm kind of passionate about. Which one do I want? Like, yeah, like how can the Lord use me? Which one do I want to do? All those kinds of questions. And I signed up, or like Peyton asked some of us on floor if we wanted to like do that summer, and I said yes and signed up and did all that, not knowing that the theme of the summer was missions. And so it was like just this really good summer where I was just gonna go flex like the youth ministry muscle and see like, how's this fit? How do I like this? And it ended up being an opportunity to really kind of weigh like both of them and like see what my skills were in both and like what my passions were in both, and like really kind of refreshed like my desire and like drive to do like missions stuff in the future. Um, so yeah, it was a really really special summer for sure.
For me, I think like there are so many stories, some that are absolutely absurd. Like I was just thinking about hunting raccoons with 22s when the counselors were definitely not aware of it. Um, things like that. But then, like I like on the more serious note, I think that the idea of Christian community and lifelong relationships being built is something that just continues to stand out and be like a favorite aspect of camp for me. Like the fact that the four of us are sitting here and on Discord, like what, 15 years later. When was this camp? I mean, 10 years ago, 2015, I think. Um,
16.
and
16.
yeah,
Yeah.
2016. Regardless,
Yeah.
like the amount of celebrations and weddings, and just visiting people, traveling across the country sometimes, traveling across the country with some of those friends. Like I was just reminiscing with a friend about this one time. So one of our mutual camp coworker friends joined the army and was graduating in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So three of us from Iowa got in my brand new Suburban and drove down to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, went to the graduation, spent the day there, and drove back all without stopping. And it was like just a whole time, all predicated upon relationships built and developed at PLC. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
just the continued investment and what it really looks like to love one another.
mm,
Like sometimes I think in our Christian bubble circles we can conceptualize loving one another, but it really takes on a practical aspect when you travel across the country for someone's graduation or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's my thought at this given second.
yeah, dude. Well, that's like, I think again, like one of my favorite things about camp is like I, I have yet to be a part of a community of people that loved and accepted each other as well as that year or those years. Like,
Mm.
I mean, some years are a little bit closer than others, but like, I just remember that being one of the things that like everyone that worked there said was just like, man, I just feel like the most welcome, um, in this group of people than like any other group of people. And, just like, and I think there's also something to be said too, just about like doing ministry with someone. It's like, you just get to see a totally different aspect of them, who they are. And like, it just brings you into such a like deeper, intimate relationship that you just don't experience elsewhere. So that was like
some of the other really cool things about camp. And that's why you do still have these friendships that are 7, 8 years old, and people are still great friends.
That was one of the things that was really cool for me is like DJ and I came in as relative like outsiders because none of it. I think we were the only two not from Iowa in the group, and we might have been two of the only people who didn't previously work at camp or didn't really know anyone else there. Maybe there were one or two others, but like how quickly we were like welcomed and part of it, and like we all did everything together almost. I remember we would
Mm-hmm.
every weekend we would drive to Ames or somewhere like that to go eat, and we watched Finding Dory one weekend, and we would go to Mayhem, and we would just go have a good time together. Um, and it was just like it was. DJ and I went to Bible college, and a lot of the people look at Bible college, or a lot of the people who go there say that one of the things they miss the most is like the community you feel on the floor. And like I would say, camp is probably one of the places, uh, one of the few places that I felt a similar kind of like
Mm.
basically the same kind of community that I did at
Yeah.
Ozark, just
Yeah.
without the being there for 4 school years doing homework, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like it. Sorry,
You're good.
I feel like if anything, camp is a little more like galvanizing in a way because like at Ozark, you're working together and you're working kind of towards a common goal and like learning together. But at camp, like you're in the pits together.
Yeah.
Like you're working in the trenches for 8 weeks or whatever. And like I think that like that's a little dramatic, right? But also it's kind of not like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard work. Um, and I think that there's something about that yeah, like it took 4 years to build relationships at Ozark, and I think if we'd been doing camp together, maybe we could have built those relationships in 2. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was, I remember one of my favorite things that we did was training week or training weeks because we had like 2 weeks before camp started, right?
I think 2 weeks of staff training.
Yeah, so I remember we would do harp and bowl every morning, and that
Mm.
was like one of my favorite parts of the day, where we would just sit in a room listening to worship music, and it was uh, we would read, we would pray, we would journal, we would do whatever we were going to do during that period, but it was just a time to start the day in worship, however we wanted to do that. Uh, and so that was just something that was really cool for me. And something like I have a harp and bowl playlist that I've made of my own, and that's what I call my worship playlist because that was really impactful for me that time.
Yeah.
This is related, unrelated. Um, Jed, Isaac, do you guys both still live in Iowa?
No, Isaac abandoned me.
Ah,
He went to
Sorry.
Colorado for some unknown reason.
ah.
We're
Well,
currently conversing from 4 different states.
that's wild.
Yeah.
Jed, when are you going to the fair?
The Iowa State Fair.
Obviously.
I wasn't planning on it. Why are you?
Okay, I do go every year
Oh, well then
because
I
I
guess
married an Iowan.
maybe I have to go just so I can see you there.
It's true. It'll be the weekend, the first weekend.
The first weekend of
Yeah.
of the year, just the first weekend.
There, I listen. I've picked up some things about the fair by osmosis. There are 2 weekends in the fair.
Oh, there.
The
I
second
don't
one,
know.
I'll be
I don't know if I've ever actually gone to the Iowa State Fair.
man.
We have a lot of really good county fairs where I am. Like we have
That's
this
fair.
event called the Night of Destruction at the Hancock County Fair, which is where I live. Where they do like school bus races and this thing called train races, where you chain 3 cars together, and the one in the front drives and steers, and the one in the back has brakes. Like it's like a
I
whole
love
thing.
that. Yeah, that sounds way cooler than the state fair. So my wife's family is from they live in Marshalltown,
Okay.
and there's like, I mean, Ames is 45 minutes away or whatever. Des Moines an hour, so there's stuff to do like an hour away. Um, and I introduced them to Mayhem. I don't mean to brag. And now they go regularly. My fault. It's whatever. Anyways, the fair is treated like this rite of passage, like that. Any real Iowan obviously loves the state fair and like will be there. So no, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying it's good to have like another perspective. Like I'm broadening my understanding of the world right now.
So
So
DJ,
thank you.
isn't there like a story about you and Angela that has to do with our time at camp? Have you shared that
There
on Have you
is.
shared that on here before?
I don't know if I have.
Okay.
If I haven't, like it's one of my favorite stories, so it's worth sharing. Excuse me. So my wife is named Angela, and also we just had a kid. If you guys didn't know that, his name
Hey,
is
congrats.
Isaiah. Thank you. He's super cute. Um,
Shout
but
out.
my wife's name is Angela, and that doesn't really matter too much. We were like, so my wife is named Angela. She didn't used to be my wife though. And she sorry, I backed it up even further than that. Freshman and sophomore year of college, I was dating a girl, and the relationship, I feel like it was just kind of clear. It had been clear for a while that it wasn't really like meant to be. There were just a lot of ways that I was unhealthy, and like it feels wrong on air to say that she was unhealthy, but like just the way our relation or that our personalities combined was not good for either of us. And so it's clear that it needed to end, but I wasn't just didn't really have the gusto to do it. But over the course of meetings with Peyton, because we had to meet with him regularly because he was like my direct boss, right below Jessica. He was like, dude, what are you doing? Just break up with her. And then I did, so that was good. Anyways, Angela and I, we go to college together. We're not close, but we're kind of in the same friend group. And yeah, I think she's cool. I feel like it's I like her, she's cool. But anyways, the summer comes along. I break up with that girl. That's during right before high school week. That little kid pops off that's why she broke up with you. And then that weekend, so I break up with her and then do a week of work at camp. And then that next weekend, I'm in a friend's wedding back in Fort Scott, Kansas. And so I don't have Wi-Fi or data in Iowa whatsoever. It's this pit where cell service goes to die. It's better now. It's gotten a lot better since then for me. I don't have straight talk anymore. It's probably just all that did it. Moving up in the world. Anyways, I need to get back for this wedding, and so I go to Par Lodge because it's the one place that has Wi-Fi, so I can pull up the directions on my phone so that I can not deviate off of them whatsoever because I've got these directions and no Wi-Fi to get me home. And so I pull them up and I head out, and I've been driving 30-40 minutes, and I look down at my phone and it says turn right in 3 miles. And so I'm driving along. I look down at my phone, spend a few minutes. All right, that turn's probably coming up. And my phone says, turn right in 3 miles. It's broken. And so I kind of start toying with it as I'm driving. And so I'm coming out of a season. I keep needing to go back into things. I'm coming out of a season where it's felt multiple times God in some ways pushed us off of ledges so he could prove that he would catch us, my family. And it's been a season of that happening multiple times back to back to back. And so I'm like, all right, what are you doing? What's going on here? And the thing that clued me in, like, okay, I wonder if God's doing something here, is that I was listening to K-Love on my way home, which, like, cheesy or whatever, but I was listening to K-Love, and the song that's playing is, like, all I know is I'm not home yet. This is not where I belong. And I'm like, ha ha ha, good one. Yeah, you got me. What's going on here? And so I know the next thing I need to do is turn right. So I turn right and I'm driving along and it becomes clear almost immediately. Like I've never seen this stretch of earth before in my life. But if I turn right, surely I'm going the right way. And so I keep going and I start seeing signs for Marshalltown. And I know I've heard of it, but I just cannot remember who lives in Marshalltown. And I'm pretty sure it's someone from that friend group. So I reach out to a friend of mine. He lets me know that it's Angela and another girl that live in Marshalltown. Gives me Angela's number. And long story short, because it's a long story that I can go into with all the detail in the world, she and her mom come and help me get out of Marshalltown. And like that's it. It wasn't like I fell in love in that moment and like we got married immediately or anything like that. But it's just this fun story where I randomly got stranded in my like the woman who was gonna become my wife, who like I wasn't even on my radar whatsoever. Like she and her mom came and rescued me and let me home. Her mom to this day still thinks I did it on purpose because I was like trying to get her number or whatever. I did get her number, so and that is how I got her number. So there was some success there.
Of all the ways to get a girl's phone number, that's the most complicated I've ever heard.
But
Yeah.
also the most based.
Thank you. They also printed me MapQuest directions, so I got home.
Oh, MapQuest! You guys
Yeah.
remember MapQuest? Whoa!
I use MapQuest
Too well.
now.
It still exists?
Yeah.
Get a phone, Gage.
No, so we have caregivers who sometimes don't have very reliable phones or service or whatever, and so they need the printed instructions for how to get to our clients' houses. So we'll use MapQuest.
Man. Wild.
It is. I looked it up and I was like, "There's no way this is gonna work." It did.
On the
Great.
note of camp and MapQuest, my biggest perpetual memory of MapQuest is that anyone who used MapQuest to try and get to camp would end up in a field about 3 miles away. And they would always call and be like, "Hey, I don't think I'm at the right place." And we're like, "Did you use MapQuest?" And they would say yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of fields not far from camp, I don't remember which anniversary it was. It must have been like the 20th anniversary or something like that. But I remember that the year that we were there, it was like the so manyth anniversary of the movie Twister being filmed. And the reason that was a big deal was because they filmed Twister outside of the town where camp was. And so the theater that only played one movie at a time. It was a wonderful theater. I loved that place.
$4.
Yeah, and they would give you free snacks if you would stay after and clean up.
True.
That was great.
Dude, I don't remember that part.
I got that deal one time. It was when we
never
went
stayed.
It was when we went to see Now You See Me Too. The group of us camp counselors that went to see Now You See Me Too. They said, "Yeah, we'll give you free popcorn if you just offer to clean up at the end." We're like, "Sure."
I hate to break it to you, they were gonna throw that popcorn away either way.
No, they gave it to us before we went into the movie.
Oh,
Like
that's great.
The guy
Never mind.
told us before the movie, he was like, "If you guys stay after, I'll give you some free popcorn." Basically.
Was it already popped?
Yeah, but it's movie popcorn. They always already pop it.
Sounds suspicious.
I remember standing in the middle of, like, right in front of the courthouse playing a giant game of Coom Cha while a sheriff just sat there and watched us.
Coom Cha?
What, you don't know that game? Was that not, were you not? I know Dan was there.
Dan was there the summer before we were there too.
Oh, that was 2014. Never mind.
I don't know what Coom Cha is.
It's like a circle game where like everyone has the same like action and chant that they're doing, but then someone starts it and they go like bunny 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 bunny, and people
Oh
next to the
boy.
person receiving yeah, Isaac knows. People
Yo, I
are
know.
flanking the person who's receiving the bunny bunny while they go bunny 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 bunny, go togi 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 togi, and whoever messes up first is out, and then it starts again, and it goes faster and faster. So it's like
Okay,
a weird cult ritual that we were just doing in the middle of Eldora, Iowa.
I tried to play this,
Probably. It's a pretty
and
iconic game.
there was a group that was trying to play this, and I tried to join, and I got so frustrated my first time playing that I just never tried again. Kind of like when kids at our youth group, DJ and I's youth group growing up, played WA, uh, which was like another game similar. It's a circle game, and you would like go like move your arms up, down, or to the side and go wah wah wah, like you, and that was it. And they learned it at CIY or on the Honduras mission trip or something, and they were trying to play it, and I had no idea what was going on. I was a bigger fan of Signs and Ninja personally, because those you can't really get the rules wrong. So
Fair
yeah,
enough. But that was a camp memory
I love
in the
that.
town of Eldora.
Mm.
uh
Eldora. Finding Dory came out that year, didn't it?
yeah,
It did.
Yeah,
We watched it twice.
yeah.
twice.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Didn't we watch it in Cedar Falls once?
These town names mean nothing to me.
Oh, you know that one town with the thing and the stuff?
The
Yes.
one with the theater.
Yeah.
Well, I went when we watched it in Ames, and then we went to like a Mexican restaurant before we went there. There was
That was such a good time.
that was such a good time.
Josiah, what are the odds me to put an enchilada into my pocket? And the numbers added up. So he put an enchilada in his pocket and ate it during the movie.
No way.
The what are the
That's
odds?
awesome.
For my experience with what are the odds just escalated throughout every year of maintenance. It eventually came down to like, so maintenance, we clean the dining hall like at the end of every day, and like we would just play what are the odds with random food on the floor, like what are the odds you eat that, and there were a lot of things eaten that had been on the floor like since breakfast. Like I don't know
Oh,
Oh,
what that is.
um, speaking of eating things that had been on the floor, uh, Ben was a very nice man, but a very intimidating man.
yes.
And he went to, when we Fourth of July when we went to go get ice cream and then watch fireworks. Uh, I believe we got ice cream first. It was a time where we took the bus to all go get ice cream, and I'm pretty sure it was
Oh
Fourth of
yeah,
July.
yeah.
So we all went to go get ice cream.
I come and go.
Yes, and I
Oh,
dropped my
quick.
spoon. Yes,
Where is the fireworks show at? What town is that in?
it
Which
was on a
one?
river.
Iowa Falls.
Okay.
Iowa Falls.
Cool. I've been wondering, but I'm sorry. That's all, Gage.
No, you're good. It was
Iowa
really
Falls.
fun. They had like boat show and stuff too. It was cool. Um, but yeah, so I dropped my spoon and I'm just like, oh darn, I need to go get another one. And Ben is standing right next to me. He just picks it up, licks it off, and hands it to me. And he's like, it's all clean. And I was like, this man has probably killed people. Like,
Well,
no, he
Yeah.
definitely had.
He
But
saved you. He was my canoeing partner.
oh man,
He saved
what
me.
a legend.
didn't you guys flip your canoe?
No, I don't think so.
You
If
flipped.
we did, he made me forget it.
I thought he did it on purpose.
Oh,
I mean, he
who
would
knows?
totally do that just for fun.
Yeah.
Man.
My favorite Ben memory is he's like one of the best bosses ever. Like there was one job we were doing that was like a ridiculous busy work. I still to this day do not know why we were doing it. There was like railroad ties
Hmm.
that were like from some landscaping project eons ago, and they had like railroad like rebar spikes through them, and our task was to pull the metal spikes out of the railroad ties. I don't know why we were doing it, but we did it. And he's driving by on the golf cart, and he like glances over and sees us, and then you just hear the golf cart slamming on the brakes, and then he backs up and drives up here, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go to town in like 15 minutes. What do you guys want?" And he just like, I just went to town to do whatever his errand was, and came back with like snacks and drinks,
Hmm.
just because.
That's great.
He was a good man.
bit.
Is a good man.
Memory.
Yeah.
He's a good man.
Speaking of people bringing snacks, I remember I complained a lot about how Iowa didn't have a lot of sweet tea. Because like most of the restaurants we went to, they would be like, "We have iced tea." I'm like, that's not the same thing. And so I like would jokingly complain about it to everybody who asked, "What do you think about Iowa so far?" And I had a group of middle schoolers who their youth pastor brought them like a care package later in the week, and he brought me a gallon of Chick-fil-A sweet tea with that.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, because they apparently really liked me. Those kids did. But about a week later, we were just hanging out. It was just counselor, like staff. It was just staff hanging out one weekend. And these people who used to work at the camp came by, and they said, "Hey, is there a guy named Gage here?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And they're like, "We were told to give you this," and it was just a gallon of Milo sweet tea. And I was like, "Awesome!" And they were talking to Jessica about it, and they were like, "So, what's the deal with the sweet tea?" And she was like, "He just really likes sweet tea, I guess. I don't know." And they thought that was so weird, but they did it anyways. I was like, "Cool." And then I forget the guy's name. Evan. Evan?
Yeah.
Evan ate
Evan.
like some red pepper flakes out of Dan's MRE. Out of his MRI. Ate some red pepper flakes out of his MRE, and then I offered to give him the rest of that gallon of tea, and right when he did it, Josiah took the gallon and took off running. Gosh, that was so fun.
That's a good one.
Hey, DJ, do you remember that one story that you were saving?
I do remember.
We're sitting at an hour 10, so now might be a good time.
The year is 2016 of our Lord. And it is middle school week. So I told that story earlier about making that kid sit by the bees. It's the same group of kids. And I've got one kid in this cabin, a few kids in this cabin who are like, they're studious. They're focused, dedicated kids, and they want to win. What's the reward for winning? Oh, you get to pie someone.
Oh yeah, you get to pie someone. Yep.
I pied Ben, and I like was so timid because he's like ex-military that I like tried to pie him and it just kind of fell off, and like his face was fine, so he pied himself so that my campers would feel like their week had meant something. But anyways, I've got the best group of campers, at least in terms of keeping the cabin clean, the best group of campers that I had all summer. And I had a few tricks up my sleeve that helped. Like if I remember, I don't think there was access to a vacuum throughout the week. At least we never had one. And so I had a rule that was like essentially like, all right, guys, everyone pick up like 18 things, 18 of anything. And then they all pick up 18 whatever. And then like, great, do it again. And we do that again until the floor is spotless. It's like it's a vacuum cleaner, but instead of a vacuum cleaner, it's like 8 ticked off 12-year-olds. But it worked. It got the job done. Like if I ever don't have a vacuum cleaner, I'll find 12-year-olds, I guess. So anyways, I've got these campers that are dedicated to it. I've got a system. And so I get like the cabin done, and I'm pretty sure I got perfect points that day, which I think was 150 or was it 100? Like was it
Something?
I think it's like maybe each maintenance person could give it out of a 50 scale, and like there's like a rubric, and I think we got perfect points. And so I'm like, all right, we killed it. We're gonna do great this week. And then Evan comes along, and they clean their cabin up really well. They do a good job there. But then he decides to write a note to these guys. And all of a sudden, out of a possible 100 points, Evan shows up. Oh, I think it was 50. I'm pretty sure it was 50. Evan shows up and gets 75 or 80 points or something like that. And I'm like, okay, this is a different game than I thought we were playing. I need to learn these rules. And so I learned them that day. And what I learned was that if you do a few things, you write a song. This was pre-Chat GPT. Could have saved some time back then. If you write a song and record yourself and your campers singing that song, a song about the maintenance staff, Jed and Isaac. If you write and record a song, and then have your bud Abby, who has excellent handwriting, write out the lyrics on a card, and you just leave that in your cabin for them. Little Birdie told me that gets you 150 points, and you get to pie Ben in the face. And so that's what I did. Gage, I'll send you the file. I'm not gonna reenact it, but I'll send you. Oh, but it's got middle schoolers in it.
Yeah, I can crop it.
Great.
So that it's just you.
Yeah.
And we can hear them, but we'll just...
The audio is the most important part.
It's true. Maybe we can... Not. I feel rude opening with it or closing with it. Because we have people that have written music for us, but...
We'll do it. We can make it YouTube exclusive.
Oh, wait. Hey, everyone. The song is going to play in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Jed. Hey, Isaac. The gentleman here in Locust realized that you guys do a lot of work that you don't necessarily get thanked for. And so we thought we'd write you a little song just so we could thank you. Oh, Jed and Isaac, you clean up all our poo, and for that we thank you. Oh, Jed and Isaac, you work behind the scenes just to keep this place clean. Oh, Jedediah, super flyer, clean installs day and night, brah. We can't do what we do without you showing work ethic. That's a true blessing to many, fixing Annie and every problem that you see. Toilets full of TP, teaching us to see what hard work looks like. Thanks for blessing our humble lives. Oh, Jed and Isaac, to clean up all our poo, and for that we thank you. Oh, Jed and Isaac, you work behind the scenes just to keep this place clean. Oh, Isaac, very righteous, humbly teaching us to work like Christ does, sacrificially serving, silently working, thanklessly clean, and help to demonstrate the meaning of suffering, so others might live. You make sure we don't slip in the bathroom, and for all that we thank you. Oh, Jed and Isaac, you clean up all our poo, and for that we thank you. Oh, Jed and Isaac, you work behind the scenes just to keep this place clean. Oh, Jed and Isaac. Thanks, Jed. Thanks, Isaac. We appreciate it.
See ya. Some bonus points too.
Yeah.
Now, and then you'll do that later.
Song.
Yeah, you'll do it in post. I'll send you guys all the file though. I still have it because I uploaded it to the cloud.
I'm so
That's
happy you
incredible.
did.
So,
I thought it was lost forever.
oh, I wouldn't let that happen. I actually don't have. I don't think I have pictures or anything of like of Abby's like
Lyrics?
sheet with the lyrics.
I don't know what happened to those. I feel like we kept them, but oh, you know what? I bet they're in the time capsule.
Oh,
Oh,
that's coming up in 2 years.
Is that even a thing anymore?
but
I
the
don't
camp
even know.
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I don't even know because technically this year I should have a time capsule to open, but I don't actually know anything about it.
Oh man, that's so sad.
Yeah, I have an iconic picture in this year's time capsule too.
I was known as like the like dad because I would wear a very flamboyant shirt and khaki pants, a very flamboyant button up and khaki pants. And I had worn that shirt that day and it was really sweaty and I put it in the time capsule. Uh, so I'm excited for 10 years of stink to see what's happened.
Brutal.
I'm pretty sure I just put like a poem I wrote in there.
I think we also maybe put did we play like turnaround maintenance instructional videos for you guys? There was one year we made videos that was like, here's how to clean your cabin after camp.
I don't think
Those
that
are
was.
I don't
on
think
here.
those
so.
are in some time capsule.
Oh,
Just
good.
on a USB stick, which apparently is still a thing. When we put it in, we're like, I wonder if this will even be a technology anymore. Still
Man.
is.
We put it on a floppy disk.
We should have put it on a floppy disk.
You guys, so Isaac, did you ever meet Nick? I'll probably
Nick
cut his
Schberger
last name.
Burger?
Yes. Yeah, long black hair.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Nick.
wait, okay, so he was going to do this if he was free, but he had some stuff come up, so he wasn't able to be here today. But do you remember when we did what did we call it, the spook files?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was
Whatever happened to that?
well, so
Does he have it?
I have it. It's on my YouTube channel.
You're gonna have to send the link when this is done.
Oh, I will. I will. But what we did is like we filmed like it was supposed to be like a fake ghost hunting show where we were going around the camp, and it was staff Thanksgiving. There was snow on the ground. Like not just a little bit either. There was a lot of snow, and we were all just bundled up real big, like real good, walking around telling our ghost stories. The audio, because I was recording on an iPad, was very bad because the wind was really just hitting the microphone, so you couldn't hear anything anybody said. So Jed, I'm sorry, we can't hear your amazing Minnesota accent.
Oh.
But
Oh,
we did that, and so I did the iMovie thing where it's the trailer for a horror movie, and I just put the clips in there. I thought it turned out pretty good. I will definitely send it to you. But that staff Thanksgiving, my friend Nathan also came with us, Nathan Schultz, because I just asked him if he wanted to go, and he said yes. And we recorded a Christmas tradition truth or dare thing in the cafeteria the place we ate,
the dining hall?
dining hall. I was trying to get there. And that's also on my YouTube channel. So my other one, not the Everything But the Cats channel, my personal channel. Dear
Yeah.
listeners, find us at the pharmacy in Des Moines, Iowa this Thanksgiving to go blatting.
Yep. The pharmacy. Which one? I don't know. You'll have to figure it out.
It's the most
If you don't
important
know,
one.
you don't belong.
Yeah, if you don't know, you don't belong.
Man, that's always been my motto. I don't know what you're supposed to know, so I guess I don't belong either.
Well, guys, this just like every time, this has been everything but the cats. And that's us. Yeah. I don't know if we're actually ready to wrap it up or not.
I think this is a
But-
good time. We're about an hour and a half
Yeah.
in, so.
Hey, other camp staff, if you're listening to this episode and you made it this far, hey, thanks. You're invited to staff Thanksgiving
Yep.
at the pharmacy
In Des Moines.
in Des Moines.
Around Thanksgiving time somewhere.
Yeah.
Jed, Isaac, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any final words, or do you want people to be able to follow you and your shenanigans? If not, then we won't share that information. But if so, this is where you plug yourself.
I don't.
Go ahead.
Thank you for having us on. It was a blast bringing back some old memories. I hope it was a benefit to you to have myself on and Jed as a guest.
It was
Yeah.
so much fun. Thank you for joining.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jed.
That's
Sorry.
great.
Yeah, same thing. It was fun. Thanks for inviting us. If you want to follow my Instagram, I don't know. It's tall, dark, and cynical, all one word, no capitals. It's just sometimes I post pictures of coffee recently. So, you know. Yep. But you don't have to follow me. Don't feel obligated.
Do you want them following your podcast?
I mean, if you want to follow the Next Steps podcast, it's kind of like for our church by our church, but I mean, there's some good, encouraging conversations in there about just being a follower of Jesus and pursuing Him. So
They've been doing it for 5 years now, the podcast, not church stuff. That's been a lot longer.
true,
But
it's been 250 something years. 200. I don't know, over 250 years. That the church has been
That
around.
church.
Yeah, the podcast.
I thought you were talking about like how long you've been doing ministry because we've been exaggerating years all night.
Oh, I'm pretty old, so. Yeah, the podcast. What did we say? 5 years? Yeah,
yeah.
2019.
That's cool.
That's when we started. But
Okay, well,
You're like, hey guys, we're starting this podcast. This year is great. Next year's gonna be great. Nothing major is gonna happen between now and 2 years from now. Let's do this thing,
yep, basically, that's exactly what happened.
man.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a blast to have you on and to tell stories and reminisce about good times, good people, and the good work that God has done in each of our lives, and in many, many other people's lives. Thank you, listeners, for being along with us this long. I want to give a couple of the thank yous out real quick. I want to say thank you to our good friend Adam Ward for our intro music, Jared Scrother for our outro music, and DJ and his cabin for that beautiful song that you will have heard a little bit earlier. If you have any questions or any stories about camp that you would like to share yourself, please share them down in the comments below or send them to us at nocatspod@gmail.com. Anyways, whatever the matter, stay beautiful, stay lovely, and we will see you again.
If you didn't like those thank yous, go thank yourself.